Air traffic controllers are people trained to maintain the safe and expeditious flow of air traffic in the global air traffic control system. The position of ATCs is one that requires highly specialized knowledge and skills. Because controllers have incredibly large responsibility while on duty, the ATC profession is consistently regarded as one of the most mentally challenging careers. Here in Nigeria, most, if not all, ATCs are under the employment of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NEMA. And oftentimes, both parties are at loggerheads. Recently, the supervising Minister of Labour, Tamini Turaki, had to sit over a peace meeting when ATCs threatened to down tools. On this edition of the program, we examine the issues and, of course, possible solutions to the never-ending face-off. Welcome to Aviation This Week on Channels Television. I'm Bukola Joe Oketumbi. That air traffic controllers threatening to shut the airspace is no longer news. The warning of an impending action this week was just another addition. Issues such as remuneration, professional allowances, and promotion are almost always at stake. The Air Controllers Union says the management of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NEMA, never lives up to its promise.
Each time you go to meet them, try to be proactive with them by asking them these issues that we discuss. How far is it? You hear them say, don't worry, we're on top of it. We are not fighting them. We're only trying to make the system better because the services we provide, we need to be one trained so that we can provide a better service to our client. If you train us well, we'll be able to provide a quality service. If you give us our allowances on time, it will motivate us to give a quality service. Where all these things are not there, it demotivates the staff.
For a body whose services are as essential as blood to the aviation industry, NEMA says this group of people remain at the center of attention.
It all borders on the issue of welfare, allowances, and maybe complaints about facilities on ground that the air traffic controllers use to do their job. The management is trying to ensure that all these grievances are attended to one after the other. And there are some things that go beyond the agency, have to be dealt with by the Ministry of Aviation, salary and wages, and labor and productivity and all that.
To put an end to the ever-lingering disharmony, the supervising Minister of Labour and Productivity had to wade in. The Air Traffic Controllers Association speaks on the outcome of the meeting.
And during the process, the minister appealed to us that since we have seen that there was no conveyance letter, he will ensure that that is done. And that was done on Saturday. There was a conveyance letter to salaries and wages for them to look into our request and give us approval. The chairman of Wages Commission also appealed to us and that he hoped and believed that within 2 weeks he will be able to complete the process of approval and send to the presidency for presidential consent, because it has to have a presidential consent before they can finally give us the approval.
The Nigerian Airspace Management Agency says it will abide by the agreement as it desires not only to promote productivity, but also workplace harmony.
The management is going to look into, and if it's something that the management has to do, of course, to ensure and then to continue to ensure that there's industrial harmony, of course, the agency is going to go all out to ensure that those issues itemized are addressed.
Many aviation practitioners are hopeful that when the content of the communique from this meeting has been implemented, this planned industrial action will never see the light of day. Next, we take an analyst's suggestion on the way forward.
I think basically dialogue has always been the right way to go, and I would still say dialogue is still the right way to go at this time. With regards to training, which they've always talked about in most of their complaints, training is an ongoing thing because it's a recurrent thing. You have to keep improving yourself because the system keeps changing every day. Aviation is a dynamic thing. Now, to the extent that the training is being provided, at what level of frequency it is being provided might be the question. And when you're looking at that, you also want to consider the fact that funding is very important. If you don't have enough funding that is commensurate to meet the training for as many people as you want to train, then you'll have to stagger it as a manager, because the controllers may not be looking at it from the standpoint of the managers. The managers are looking at it from a different standpoint. The controllers are looking at it from the basis of welfare. But this is something that they need to come to a middle line, so to say, where the managers are seen as people who are actually doing the job of managing the organization, and the controllers are providing a service. But they should not see themselves as two separate people. They are a team. And I think that there should be more understanding on the part of the controllers with regards to the challenges that the managers are facing, with regards to funding as well. Now, if I've got to train, let's give a number, let's say 50 people, 50 controllers, so to say. This training are basically done abroad. It's dollar denominated, it's quite expensive, and it's over a long period of time. That definitely is going to put a lot of strain on the finances of the organization. Now, to the fact that the training must be done, then the managers themselves would look at it from the angle of how can I go around it? And that's where the controllers need to show some understanding. Well, I would say for me, you understand, I've been in this industry for a good while now, and I know that equipment keep getting upgraded. You understand? Equipment basically are machines, and sometimes they could have some hiccups here and there. That's why they have engineers. And the engineers work round the clock to ensure that this equipment stay online, you understand? There might be times where some issues come up and they go offline because, like you would recall, many of these equipment are being powered 24/7 by generators. Generators themselves are machines that can break down sometime along the way. So issues can come up from time to time. But the fact that issues come up doesn't necessarily mean you discountenance everything being done in the authority. The authority is working around the clock to ensure that it provides services, navigational services to the users. It's a Herculean task, you understand? But the fact remains, sometimes there are challenges, which of course the controllers are in the position to say, okay, these are our challenges, and then allow the management to say, okay, we'll take on board your challenges, but at the same time, we'll look at how we can meet those challenges vis-a-vis the available funds. And time also is a factor.
They are the voices of the safest airspace in the world. From the moment your airplane leaves the gate to the time that you arrive at your destination, hard-working individuals are watching over you. It has been called the most stressful job in the world, with no room for errors or slip of tongue, and a moment of forgetfulness could spell doom. They are air traffic controllers, and most cannot imagine doing anything else. In Nigeria, there are over 250 of them. They all fall in two distinct categories: terminal or en route controllers. Throughout your flight, it is not uncommon for pilots to make contacts with several controllers. And when they are not manning their positions, there's room for conversation. Meet Catherine and Tayo.
It's a job that was highly intriguing. It's an area I knew nothing about. And a funny twist, I didn't apply for the job, my husband did for me. He saw the advert and applied for me, and I got called up. And I've come to love it. It's a job I don't think I cannot live without doing it. It's something I love doing, and it has actually come into my daily life as a mom, because you multitask as a mom. So it was very easy for me to kind of fit into the regimented way of doing things. It's like a paramilitary. Everything has to be precise, on time because you're taking decisions that saves lives.
Rating is highly important to what we do to the profession as an air traffic controller. In the sense, number one, ICAO stipulates that for you to practice at a certain unit or a certain control position, you must have meet some certain requirements, both in terms of training, experience, and the other requirements. We have up to 6-7 ratings, but in Nigeria we have up to currently practice 5. We have the aerodrome rating, the approach rating, the approach surveillance, the area procedural, and the area surveillance, which we currently practice as air traffic controllers in Nigeria.
They describe their typical day as tasking.
So you come to work with a mindset that it's going to be a busy day. So from the time you get to work, you're kind of hitting the floor running. And it goes on like that till you're done for the shift because we run shifts. So if you're on a morning shift, from 7 o'clock till 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So from the time you come in, that 6 hours, it's work, work, work. Definitely, it's a teamwork. It's not a work you do in isolation. You must talk with your colleagues. If you get to the tower, we have different positions. We have the active control. We have the ground frequency where someone mans to give startup to the aircraft. So the person there has to communicate with you that the aircraft has been started. There's communication within us as the work goes.
In fact, most controllers, air traffic controllers, you realize that they're a bit impatient because you multitask averagely on every day. You are required to, especially if you work in busy aerodromes, which I do, you are expected to listen, to transmit, to write, and do a lot of other things at the same time.
Catherine takes us through an air traffic chart.
So if you have an aircraft that is going to maybe Benin, you got the Alpha 609, you have it from Benin 84 going to Port Harcourt, thereabout. So you must, okay, who goes further? Is it Benin or Port Harcourt? It's Port Harcourt definitely. So what you do is you depart the aircraft going to Port Harcourt first, so that it keeps on flying and climbing. While the one going to Benin is behind. Else, the one going to Port Harcourt, if it goes behind the one going to Benin, would have to descend to the level of the one going to Port Harcourt. And if it's not done at the right distances, there's an infringement, and the other aircraft will file a report.
While they're at it, the overall goal of controllers is to ensure that you get home safe.